Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of Fca Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Daily news and updates for 11th June 2024. State Bank of India and other public sector lenders are urging the government to allow them to offer incentives to bolster deposits which have slumped, hitting credit flows. Banks' deposit growth in financial year 24 was well below the rise in credit, forcing them to meet the funding gap through higher cost certificate of deposits. Banks have made representations to senior government officials flagging the slowdown in deposits. Employers in India are showing caution in short-term hiring for the July to September quarter, with a net employment outlook of 30%, 6 percentage points lower than the current quarter and the same period last year. While 48% of the employers plan to hire more people, 18% expect a decrease in hiring or have no plans to hire. The most optimistic sectors are finance and real estate, healthcare and life sciences, and IT, while communication services and transport, logistics, and automotive are less optimistic. The Indian unit of Korea's Hyundai Motor is likely to file a draft red herring prospectus with market regulator SEBI over the next 2 weeks, initiating the process for an initial public offering. If successful, this would mark the first IPO by an automaker in India in more than 2 decades since the listing of the country's largest car maker Maruti Suzuki in 2003. Hyundai has hired several investment banks to manage the IPO and is targeting a valuation of $22 to $28 billion. The IPO could lead to a re-rating of the Indian automobile sector and benefit Hyundai's closest rival, Maruti Suzuki. Serum Institute of India Private Limited is gearing up to meet the growing demand for life-saving vaccines with expectations to double sales in the next 5 years. The world's largest vaccine maker based in Pune currently has the capacity to produce 3 billion doses annually but only sells about half of that. CEO Adar Poonawalla is optimistic about the increasing uptake of vaccines globally as countries boost their healthcare budgets. SEBI has issued guidelines on anti-money laundering standards and combating financing of terrorism for intermediaries. The guidelines outline the essential principles for combating money laundering and terrorist financing and provide detailed procedures and obligations for all registered intermediaries to follow and comply with. Also, intermediaries may require clients to specify additional disclosures to address concerns about money laundering and suspicious transactions undertaken by clients. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.